Said last week an exodus has started from West Ham, and now another youngster is set to head out the door. Last week, Dan Chester's announced that he was leaving West Ham. He was gutted to be leaving West Ham, but he's seen it as the right decision between club and player. And at that point, it's going to spark news of other players potentially leaving West Ham. We'll hear what happens in due course. Obviously, when West Ham will initially release their retained list, and we expect some senior players to be heading out the door alongside some youth players. Now, one of those youth players in question is the man up top they call Divine Mubama. Now, he's been a young startlet, hit the scene at West Ham through all the young age groups. St. Bonaventure's boy, local school, East Ham, and scores lots of goals, but was never favoured under David Moyes. Now, it's been revealed very closely that he's been linked to Sunderland, but today the news coming out of this situation is that Sunderland have opened talks to sign the forward. The 19-year-old is going to be probably leaving West Ham when his contract expires officially at the end of June. Now, there will be a compensation fee that's going to be probably set by a tribunal unless both clubs can agree terms over the potential deal for him. Now, people ask, how can there be a tribunal if the player is out of contract? But the situation is as follows. He will be able to join the team as of the 1st of July. But when a professional player under the age of 24 has been offered a new contract by his club, which is West Ham, subject to certain requirements that must meet set out in the Rule 64.3 of Football League rules, thanks to West Ham Football, Sean Wheatston, for that. And if he rejects that offer in order to take up the opportunity to sign for another club, compensation will be payable. So that's why. We'll come into it a little bit more in a second. But he is expected, after making 18 senior appearances for West Ham, and making his debut in the Europa Conference League back in November of 2022. He scored his first West Ham goal in the competition in March of 2023, but since then has been unable to add to his tally. He's been frustrated from his lack of first-team options under David Moyes, playing just 74 minutes in Premier League across the most recent campaign. And now Mubama is in talks over a potential move to Sunderland as they look to their already youthful squad at the Stadium of Light, of course, taking on some former West Ham players already there in Alessi and I can't remember the boy's name in the midfield. It's just totally gone. But I think there's going to be more players following him in due course, so be prepared for that. But like I said, this probably will go to a tribunal unless they make an agreement between the two clubs. There has been an example that Sean gave to all the West Ham fans, so let me just explain it to you one more time. I have mentioned it as well. Who remembers Robert Hall? He signed a professional contract with West Ham, age 17, made 4 league appearances for us. He also enjoyed lots of loan spells and represented England at youth level. And under allowing his contract to expire, age 20, he signed a 3-year contract at Bolton. Now, the professional bodies decided that Bolton should pay West Ham an initial compensation fee of 450 grand. And additionally, 250 grand will be due if Bolton are promoted to the Premier League in the next 3 seasons from that moment. Now, £2,500 per appearance was ordered for the first 100 appearances in the Championship, or £10,000 per appearance for the first 100 appearances for Bolton if they are in the Premier League. Now, he didn't meet all those caveats. He went on to make 34 appearances for Bolton before the end of the contract, leaving on a free transfer for Oxford, and that was what was interesting about that is Bolton didn't have to pay West Ham the full monies, but there will be some element of compensation package should he officially leave West Ham and go to Sunderland, which we expect to happen in due course. So that will probably be the second player that we've heard, a youth player, leaving. Disappointing. Disappointing considering that we had probably a lot of high hopes for this striker, being West Ham born and bred, and scoring goals for fun through the under 16s, 18s, development team, 21s, etc. And, you know, the prospects of him having a bright future at West Ham, where they are, unfortunately, he was not favoured at West Ham under David Moyes, and that really has impacted his trajectory. And unfortunately, these players do need game time, and it was always going to be tough for him to break into the team. However, I do think there was options that he should have broken into the team, but that's a whole other ball game. So it looks like he is going to be heading out. West Ham are not keen to match the monies that he is expecting for a first team player squad. That's where it really does become difficult, because if West Ham were to try and match the wage demands due to him being in the final year of his contract, we would be paying over the odds for a player that hasn't necessarily produced much on the pitch when his chance has been opportunity there. So what West Ham will probably look at is, what have we got in the youth system right now? They've got Callum Marshall, and they may think, I'll put all our eggs in that basket right now and see if we can go down the compensation element for Mubama. Disappointing, but looks like he'll be heading to Sunderland. That's a short, sharp, straight to the point, exclusive update for you today. Take it easy, and of course, put your comments in. Let us know your thoughts on Mubama leaving West Ham for Sunderland. That will be announced probably in due course. Take it easy. Come on, you guys.